Probably the biggest game from the opening weekend of the Premier League season has to be Spurs versus Man City. So many subplots. And actually, when the fixtures came out on ESPN, my friend here, Hugh Woozencroft, said, hang on a minute, Spurs versus Man City. Could that be Harry Kane's first game for Manchester City? At the moment, it looks like that's not going to be the case. But these two, are striking up a bit of a rivalry. And actually, the last time Man City went to Spurs won that game 2-0. So there's a few talking points here. I think, first of all, the possible impact or movement of Harry Kane for Spurs. Let's start with Spurs and then we'll move on to Man City, Hugh. Harry Kane, where are you at with this one? Do you see him moving? And how big of a loss is that for Spurs if he does go?
Firstly, he should have stayed on the beach in the Bahamas. I don't know why he came back, to be perfectly honest, because the only way he's going to get out of the club is if Manchester City offer a huge amount of money, which it doesn't look like they're going to reach the sort of 140, 150, 160 million pound mark, or he forces his way out by giving a transfer request and making it very obvious to Daniel Levy that he has to compromise here. He has to let me go because I've given everything I can for the club. And this is my moment. And this is his moment. Make no mistake about it. You know, if he doesn't go this summer, there's a good chance he at least sees out the next 3 years at Tottenham Hotspur, probably signs a new deal next season to take him, 5-6 years more from now. And so, if he really wants to go and win trophies, this is his time. And there is no better club to be at if he wants to stay in the Premier League than Manchester City. It virtually guarantees you will win something, especially over a 5-year period. In fact, quite a lot. So he has to force his way to Manchester City if that's where he wants to go. The relationship with the Tottenham fans, that's down to him and that's down to them. You get varying opinions on this. Some Tottenham fans saying, look, he's paid his dues. We've got great service from him. It would be great to see him go and win some trophies because they know deep down inside he isn't going to do it at Tottenham Hotspur. And then you get the others saying, you signed a deal, honour it. And that's about it. It's black and white. So where I sit on it is everyone in this situation is doing what they can for themselves. So Harry Kane wants to leave. He has to use his power, and that's very limited power in this situation to try and force his way out. Daniel Levy wants as much money as possible. Manchester City want to pay as little as possible. Everyone's looking out for number one. That's their prerogative. But I think if I'm personally Harry Kane, there's only one thing you can do, and that's a Diego Costa. Get yourself on the beach in Brazil and make it very clear you're never going to pull the shirt on again. Now, I know that would go down very badly with the Tottenham fans, but you've got 3 years left on your deal. There is very little leeway for you, and you will probably have to do something desperate, and desperate times call for desperate measures. I don't know what you think. Should he stay at Tottenham Hotspur?
I think he's got to speak to his brother and go, what were you doing with this contract? Look at the black and white of it, and look at Jack Grealish, who, of course, has gone to Manchester City. There was a clause in the contract. There's talk about gentleman's agreement. Are you mad? Are you for real? Are you serious? You're not going to put that? No, I believe you. Daniel Levy. I believe you. And it's not that it's Daniel Levy. It's the fact that I wonder, with Charlie Kane as the agent of Harry Kane, I get it. You trust him. But in terms of the 10,000 hours that we talk about when you need to excel at something, Daniel Levy has had those 10,000 hours when it comes to contracts and negotiations. For Harry Kane and his brother dealing with those affairs, if it is him, and I might be wrong in that, and if I am, I apologize, but something has been very much mismanaged with this in terms of the length of the contract and the fact that that clause is not in there, because that feels like a really obvious one that Grealish had in there. The fact that you have, if my team isn't in the Champions League and a team that's in the Champions League wants me, then I should be allowed to go. That's what's really hurting him here. And if he had a contract that was a year less, he'd be in the final 2 years. And we know when we're in the final 2 years, that's when you get the highest valuation of a player, a 28-year-old. So again, they've just made some really bad mistakes with that. And I wonder, I don't know if Daniel Levy's got that much foresight to go, look, if, say he plays this season, scores 30 goals. That means he's 20 goals off Jimmy Greaves' record. He might just go, oh, go on, then I'll stick around at that point. Maybe not. But either way, he'll be a 29-year-old then. And you'll still probably get a decent amount of money, but you've got as much service as you can out of him. It's a really tough one for someone as noble, supposedly, as Harry Kane, and there's no reason why he isn't noble. Do you know what I mean? What I would say is if he does make the move, and we've seen this in the past before, when it gets close to that deadline day, people do make those moves, and Man City do have a lot of money. If he does go to Man City, I mean, there is no way that Man City can be stopped, is there?
Anything can happen on a football pitch, and anyone can have an off day. Harry's had his problems with injury, but you've got to say they will go from strength to strength to strength times about 10 if Harry Kane is their starting centre forward. They will not leave many chances out there. And I think it's great for him. I don't think he has to do as much work as he does at Tottenham Hotspur. So I think in terms of the longevity of his career, being at Manchester City would be fantastic. And of course, you get the silverware as well. But he's not in a good place. He's not in a good place in terms of that contract.
So let's talk about this game then, Spurs versus Man City, because you use the word confidence there. And sadly, I think, look, if Spurs came out and they're playing Southampton at home and they go bang, bang, bang, 4 goals, Dele Alli's got 2, Son's got 1, Lucas Moura's got 1, confidence rises, like you say, and then they're going somewhere. Sadly, they're playing Man City at 4:30, with the eyes of the world on them, of course. And it's going to be a really tough one for them. And I guess the one question I want to talk about with Man City and this game specifically is what it might mean for Jack Grealish, one player who has made the move. I'm intrigued to see his role in this side, Hugh, because I think there's enough options out on that left-hand side. I don't think he jumps the queue there. I think his role, quite possibly, could be as one of those progressive eights, maybe slowly kind of phasing Gundogan, who was possibly player of the season last season, in the entire league with the amount of goals that he got. But he's got to fit in somewhere. So where do you see him fitting in for this game?
There's a good chance that Jack Grealish could be a sub for Manchester City. Throughout the season, he is a player that is used either as a replacement for Raheem Sterling on the left, or, as you say, someone who plays instead of İlkay Gundogan. He could start, to be honest, every game or every other game for Manchester City as well in one of those two positions, because we know Pep Guardiola likes to rotate. So it gives Pep options, but maybe for Jack Grealish, it means that he doesn't settle into the team as quickly as he would hope, because he will, I think, be used, as you say, as a progressive eight. İlkay Gundogan's missing. He can play there. Even Kevin De Bruyne, if he's out with injury for a while or gets rested, he could play in his position. And then we know how good he is on the left-hand side. If Raheem Sterling goes through a lack of form again, then you've got Jack Grealish there too. Now, that's not great for his career. He will want to be in a pretty settled position week in, week out. That's what he's used to at Aston Villa. And I think that's going to be the way to get the best football out of him. Manchester City just need him to perform where they need him to perform, when they need him to perform. And that is the responsibility given to all of the players at the club. It will take some getting used to the style of football for Jack Grealish, but I think he can still make a huge impact at the club. And I'm looking forward to seeing him. I don't think he'll start against Tottenham Hotspur, I've got to say, because at this point in time, I'm not sure he's in Pep's first 11. He's just getting to know him, really. Well, he's just getting to know him, isn't he? He's just come to the club. No, I'm not saying in terms of talent. What I'm saying is Pep hasn't worked with him for very long, so he's not going to throw him into his first 11 and say,
I get you.
There you go. He's going to wait to mold him in for a little bit of time, work him in, get used to his teammates, and then he probably will be a starter. But just right now, he was on the bench for the Community Shield. He'll probably be on the bench again this weekend, and it'll be a few weeks before we see him sort of starting regularly. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm not saying he's not in his most talented 11.
No. What I'm saying, I'm not even reacting to it being what you said there. It's more the fact that you've bought a player for 100 million, and I think you're right. He doesn't need to be in the starting 11. It's an embarrassment of riches that Man City have, and Guardiola's won 5 out of his 5 first games of a Premier League season. I think we're both probably in agreement on this one. I can't see how Spurs get out of this one with any points whatsoever, even if Man City are a little bit underbaked, because I think they just have so many options. It's going to be fascinating. I think if Spurs can get out of there with Man City not scoring more than 2 goals, I think Nuno takes that. I think he'd be happy with that. But I think it could be exactly that, to be honest. I could see a 2-0 win for Man City in this one. Hi guys, James Alcott here from ESPN's Football Forecast. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to check out more, make sure you subscribe to ESPN UK.